And here I am. Can I hear you, Bill?
Yes, thank you. It's good to see you.
Fantastic. Awesome. Learn something new every day, don't we?
Absolutely. Technology is a blessing, and then it becomes a, a fight if you don't understand it. But I think if we're patient, it always works out.
Yes. Well, I just want to introduce you to the social media platforms, all the fans out there. This is Bill Banta. So, Bill Banta and I go back quite some years now, and it all started with Bob Proctor. So, Bob Proctor, I had the honor and privilege of coaching with him. And with Bob, you also got Bill. And so, Bill and I, we had a great relationship, and he helped me move past a lot of limiting beliefs that I had about myself and where my business was at. It was doing great, but I had this thermostat that was set, and he helped me unset the thermostat to a new thermostat. And so I wanted to bring Bill here to the Healthy Hydration team as our affiliate coach, our official team coach, to help guide all of you. If you're new to our company or you want to become in our company, Bill is going to be the coach that's helping to look after you and help you get past those limiting beliefs. So with that being said, I just want Bill to kind of introduce himself a little bit, his background, where he came, and just add value to the audience here.
Awesome. Thank you. It's such a blessing to be with you. It's always fun to meet new people, and I truly believe that community has a massive role in our ability to succeed, and that is to associate and be around people that are doers and shakers, and it's just changing our perspective. And that's all that happened to me years and years ago. Um, Being born and raised in a small community, mostly lower middle class, blue collar workers, was our community. Great people, incredible people. My family's incredible, but just had this limiting view. My parents divorced and moved us to a community where the first young man that introduced himself in a new school was a guy named Joe. And Joe came from a very, very successful family. I think we were 12 or 13 at the time, and he came from a super successful family, and that became my best friend early. And there was this polarity between my family and his family, in not in the physical aspect, other than, I mean, they still fought, their hair poked up in the morning, they still smelled funny if they didn't shower. All of those things were the same. But what was really cool, Amanda, was like they lived different. Like they had this different lifestyle, and there was a lot of freedom, and they traveled and they went on vacation, they had extra houses. And so as a young man, I got to experience both lives.
Mm.
And my parents did an amazing job. They did the best that they could do. It's just what they knew. And I'm grateful for those days. But that's how it started, and so that just opened my mind. Years later, I met Bob through a conversation. And of course, the internet didn't exist. I went to a training in Salt Lake City, Utah. I met Bob Proctor, and then my whole world opened up, because then I understood that I was really born rich, as Bob talks about. That there's this idea and this thing that's inside of all of us, that if we can develop it, and we can learn to overcome and peel back some of the layers, because we've just forgotten who we really are, and then unlearn some of the garbage that's been and trauma that's been placed on us over the years of being humans living in this physical world that we live in, that there was actually processes and systems to do that. And as I learned that as a young man, we grew and fell in love with the coaching industry, and I started seeing people's lives change. And I honored that feeling, and I honored that calling, and went after it in my late 30s. And I've spent every day since then doing it. And it's been such a blessing to meet and work with people like yourself, who are hungry, who want more, who have a desire to understand why you're stuck, or why you feel like there's this block in your life, when you can see so well what you want, but yet you don't get there. And that becomes perplexing. And then most people just quit, because that is how we're trained. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about mindset and about growth, together over the next several months. And so it'll be my goal is to give everybody enough of a nugget and a challenge, so that they can see the truth of who they are, and let go of what life's really doing to them, and actually start taking responsibility and start doing life right,
Mm.
and start doing it the way they want to do it, and have some form of a process and a system to follow, so that you're not alone. Because the last thing you want to do, especially in today's world, in today's economy, and today's social economic levels that we live in, you don't want to be on an island by yourself, because if you do it, you're going to get lost real quick.
That is so true. And I always tell my students, coaching does not cost you money, it makes you money. Whenever I got stuck, when I was going through my career, I was like, okay, this is where I'm at. I need some help. How do I get to, the next success plateau, or, how do I get up from where I'm at? And I always found that coaching, hiring the right person, found to be the best way to get successful. And so that's where I was at with you, bouncing information off is just helped me give that confidence that I needed to really go out there and be in my power. So I want to thank you for that. So kind of tell the audience a little bit about, goal setting and why most people end up setting a goal and then failing their goal.
Yeah, that's such a good question. I mean, by definition, we all have blind spots. Like, you do not see what you don't see, period. You just can't see it. Like, there's things about me in my life that I can't see. And the only way to change is to change those things that we can't see. Now, granted, there's ideas and there's things inside of us that know that we can do more, but the normal human, first of all, they don't even realize what a goal really is, right? Most people think that goal achievement is about obtaining some physical nuance or some really cool thing in our life, but no, goal achievement is about development. It's about growth, because James Allen said, we don't attract what we want, we attract what we are. And so as you become that person, let's just say somebody has a goal to earn an extra 100,000 a year, an extra 5,000 a year, whatever it is. The reason you're not doing it isn't because you want to, it's because you haven't become the person that can think that way. So setting a goal is really important. Number one, that it connects with who you really are, that you have the ability through vision to have it be integrity with what you really are and the direction you're going. And then the process to wiring ourselves through writing and visualization and things that will help us connect emotionally to the goal. So that the most important part is the action piece, right? You can dream and wish all you want, but without an inspired action backed by that emotional attachment to that want, it's just a hope. And so most people set a goal with no real objective of how to maintain the emotional involvement and or a process to keep them there long enough until they rewrite or rewire themselves to be that person who can achieve that goal.
Mm-hmm. And then the fear and doubt. A
Every time.
lot of, a lot of people have
Mhm.
that. And how would you say to get past that if you are experiencing, you get excited about something, you're in the moment, you might decide you want to become an affiliate with us here. You purchase the product, and then all of a sudden, fear and doubt. What do I do next? Oh, I think I'm going to cancel. So what would you say to a person that's going through that and how to get over that?
Well, fear and doubt really, I mean, they're built in the same place, right? And fear is a principle that most people assume is a safety mechanism, when in reality, a fear can actually show you the strength of your paradigm, and it can literally show you that you need to grow. Again, most people interpret fear as the danger. Now, are there saving grace in fear? Well, of course. I mean, you're not going to drive your car off a cliff because your fear is going to tell you what's going to happen. However, faith is something that also has to be built, and faith is a principle of action.
Mm-hmm.
And in our coaching process, we're going to teach those members and who are affiliates of yours is how to understand that process of developing faith. Why? Because belief, again, has to come through movement and action, and there's power that comes in being illogical. There's power in trusting that fear shows you that there's a gap, and that on the other side of fear is the reward. And then you start to see these physical little evidences, and then you start to see this reassuring thing that things are working, and that's how you constantly are building belief and faith and belief and faith. But if you use fear, then you're constantly reassuring that yourself, and then you're seeing physical results that there's no results. You're seeing it, and then you lose your power, and then there's no action, and then you just become a backwards self-fulfilling cycle of doom. And it's frustrating because I've done it, you've done it, everybody on this audience has done it. So you have to understand that faith is a principle of action, and with that comes power. And that way, God and universe, who really know a heck of a lot more than we do, have been given permission to engage and conspire with us to make those things possible.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Going back to Bob teaches a lot, what you taught me a lot about your paradigm. And I think that's really what helped me understand about people and why they do what they do. And they keep getting the same result over and over and over again, is it's our program. And so when you do go to create a different result and you think this is my vision, this is what I want, you step out into the unknown. And that's where the fear and doubt comes in. And that's where your program is really, really strong. So would you talk a little bit about the paradigm and what that is?
Yeah, it's interesting because, I mean, by definition, I mean, a paradigm is a multitude of habits, right? Or beliefs. And it's a good thing we have paradigms, because you and I could sit here without paradigms and we would pass out. Like, we have a paradigm of being and talking at the same time. So conditioning and automation is important, but a paradigm that's automated that goes against the very desire that we want for an outcome is dangerous. And a paradigm has almost exclusive control over every habitual routine in our lives. So, I mean, we can wind this all the way back to a goal. And I believe it was Robert Heinlein, I think, that said that in absence of clearly defined goals, we become strangely loyal to performing daily trivia until we become enslaved by it. And that enslavement is dangerous, right? And so when we understand, even to the slightest, just a little bit about the paradigm, as a paradigm has almost exclusive control, then if that's true, and it's controlling my breathing as I speak to you, and it's controlling your breathing as you speak to me, if we understand that and we just rewire the paradigm to be in harmony with our goal, in alignment with what we want through process and technique. By the way, 3% of the world's population, this is how they live. They have a process to rewire their current paradigms to match what they want. And as you connect those dots, then the new automation takes you to there, right? Just like automatically breathing takes you to there. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do have some questions coming in. We'll answer those here shortly. But for those of you that are joining us live, we're going to be giving away one of our event tickets for our upcoming event, April 28th, which is my birthday, in the evening. It's not mandatory that you're there, but I would absolutely be grateful if you were. And then the 29th and 30th, we have our Hydrogen University, and we have Bill Banta going to be there. We have Dr. Tyler LeBaron going to be there, Taiwan Hubbard, who had H2 Minutes and H2 Hub, and Bob Centronelli. So we're very excited for this. It's going to be our first of many Hydrogen University courses. So we're going to be giving away one of those tickets. So for those of you that are live here joining us, in order to get a ticket possibility, you've got to be putting questions right there into the chat. So the first one I'm going to go through right here is, we have Jamie Richards. Hi, how are you doing? When you write down your hopes, do you recommend writing the action steps that I think needs to happen to get my goal?
No, I don't. I believe that, I mean, there's so much scientific proof behind writing out your goal, and everybody kind of has their own number, but I've been told as high as like nearly 50% more probable if you just write it down. The key to writing it down is maybe we take the word hope out, and that we just literally write, I am happy and grateful now that I have achieved this, and use emotional words to create that, so that you're creating that goal in a present tense. And then the key is repetition. Repetition and emotional impact are the only two ways to change a paradigm. That's it. And so through repetition of writing it out, I mean, I'm studying a process right now called the 490 transformation, which is really interesting. And they've proven over and over and over, somebody writing their goal down between 7 and 10 times for 70 days consistently actually rewires the neurological pathways. And so that, that 490, hence 490, 7 times 70, for some, that has a biblical terminology, but for others, it's just math. So that repetition. So take the word hope out and write, and get really more specific about what you want, and literally don't write down the plan. Use that for your planning somewhere else, but use your morning and start out very first thing with writing your goals down 7 to 10 times over and over and over every day, like 70 days. You will get emotionally involved in that, and then the plan will show itself.
Yes. What's so interesting is one of the homework assignments that Bob had us all doing when we were going through his class, and still to this day I do it, is use your imagination and write down exactly your life as if it's already happened in the present tense, and then get emotionally involved in that. And so literally 5 a.m. comes in the morning, and now I sleep in a little bit longer because I'm, helping people 3 or 4 in the morning. But anyways, when that used to be my old schedule, I'm waking up and I'm writing it down. I'm literally in love with my future. And he had us do this exercise where you actually write it down, you send it over, and then they send you in the mail, you have Proctor Gallagher Institute, your letter that you wrote to yourself about your life now that you are here. And I literally opened that letter and I was like, oh my gosh, it's almost everything that I have now back then that I was saying I was going to have, and now I have it.
Yeah.
And that was so powerful. And I created some big goals too. And I remember being in one of the meetings and I was like, well, how do I do that? You don't have to know how you're going to do it. You just have to have the goal. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? It's your intuition that tells you how to get to the goal. But if you don't know like how, and you get wrapped up in the how am I going to do that, then you're just spinning your wheels and you're not going to like listen to your intuition.
Yeah. Yeah. And as we work along, we're going to go deeper into this. Her name was Jamie, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Is that right? Jamie, do this. Write these questions down, and everybody else, you should do this. What do I really want? Not what I think I can get, but what do I want? Second, why does what I want matter? What is it that you really want? And why does it matter to you? Why does it matter to those around you? How would this impact you and your family? What will your life look like when you've already achieved this? And last, what will the life of those around you that you love most look like once you've achieved that? And if you will answer those questions honestly, and you will truly allow your emotions to be involved rather than your logic, as Amanda said really well, the people, tools, and resources will start to manifest into your life, because it's the emotional involvement of your want that is the desire, and desire is the trigger that creates that. And this may be new for some of you, which is fine, because we're going to help you through this, but it's going to make so much sense when you start to realize all the other things that you've already achieved in your life had nothing to do with writing down the exact plan. Yes, you have to be intentional. Yes, you have to be organized and planning. However, it's that emotional involvement of that want. So what do you really want? Why does it matter to me? Why will it matter to those around me? What will it look like for me, for myself, when I've achieved that goal? How will I feel? And what kind of life will it present to those around me, your children, your husband, your community? How will it affect them, and how will that feel? Work at it from the backside forward, and you'll find that you're going to get really charged by something that's important to you.
And it sounds kind of silly, you know, that's really all you have to do. And these thoughts will come to you and you got to take the right action. But at the same time, the law of vibration, the law that everything vibrates and is on a frequency. And so Bob always taught, and you taught me this as well, is like when your goal is here and your body's here, well, you just want to match your goal, your vibration with your, you know, body, because the feelings, it's the feelings state you have to be in order to create that vibration.
Yeah, you're in the water business. You understand frequency and vibration. I mean, you guys are talking about things that are outside of the normal. Nikola Tesla is the one that said that we should think in terms of anything we want in life, in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And that's deep, but if you just match the frequency of the good that you desire, hence what you just said, if you match it, when you become that person who thinks and acts like the person who's achieved Jamie's goals, the plan will have already been brought into place. And you probably don't even have to really execute all of the plan, because you're going to have people, tools, and resources show up in your life that you don't even know exist today. And it's not really Pollyanna, because if you talk to enough people that are winning at a high level, you'll start to realize some of the most wealthy people in the world that are most successful, happy, healthy, and balanced lives aren't necessarily considered the smartest people in the world. They just live through these correct principles. So write them out the way you want them. Don't judge how, and learn how to get emotionally involved by those questions.
Awesome. And I'm really excited for you to work with Jamie too in the course, because she's already a very successful entrepreneur on her own, doing a business that is fantastic. So I just know that this is going to help in all areas of her life, not just the water business.
Yep.
Cool. All right. We have Callie. So Callie says, what is the best way to handle or use your time in finding patience with the times you aren't seeing what you want manifest in your environment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. The law of gestation is a fascinating law. You might look it up and Google it and read about it, and we won't have time today to go into it. But the question I was always asked is this: how do you know it's not working? And that question would drive me crazy because I would like, what the hell is he talking about? What do you mean it's not working? Well, Price Pritchett says the absence of evidence is never the absence of evidence. Like if you're moving in the right direction, though you can't see it, it's no different than each of us taking a planter box today full of nice soil and a nice sun over here at the window and planting a seed. If we dig that up tomorrow to find out why it didn't gestate in 1 day or in 3 days or in 6 days, unless you know scientifically the actual gestation date of that seed, what are you going to do by disrupting that soil? You're going to kill it. And if it is gestating and you expose it, you're going to kill it. And so calmness of mind is key. Like learning to respond rather than to react, learning to be committed to your vision. I mean, if you think about it, vision is value-based. It needs to be in integrity. And if you don't see exact results, why change the vision? If it means something to you and you've done the work to get emotionally involved. Second, it has to be illogical. If it's too logical, it's not going to drive you off the couch. You're not going to do it. You got to be more specific, be more clear. You got to stop judging, again, the idea that it's not working. And you just got to do a little bit more work around developing your action through faith muscle, right? And trusting those intuition, which takes some time and work. And then it's got to inspire you. Otherwise, oh my gosh, you are going to be seduced to retreat. That's the law. I mean, right? When we don't see it, dang it, the seed's not gestation. Heck with it, it doesn't work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obsession is key. I know that's a really hard word for some people to understand and believe, but it's got to become obsessive. The obsessive part of our vision is the fertilizer on top of our goals. It's what feeds them and nurtures them. And then you just got to trust that you're going to see noticeable movement and expect success, expect miracles, expect to see things rather than expect or just expect, well, it just hasn't worked for me in the past, and judging all your limitations by past results. Learn through developed mindset how to see it differently, because there's not a farmer on this planet right now that's out there that's planting their seeds in the spring that are questioning whether they're going to harvest in the fall. They just know. Are there elements? Yes. Will the weather destroy them? Yes. Could hail destroy them, or wind or rain or flood? Yes. But they don't spend their time worrying about that. They get in their tractors and they get out there right now and they plant. And then while their seeds are growing, what are they doing? They're not digging them up to see. They know. They water, fertilizer, keep the weeds out, and they keep working. And when there's nothing to do in the middle of the summer but watch them grow, what are farmers doing? They're working on their harvest equipment. They're cleaning out their harvest trucks, and they're making sure their cellars and their bins and all that stuff's clean, and their tractors are all ready to go. I know it's a really long answer, but I guarantee you, if you can learn the process of having correct vision, and if your goals are connected to your value system and you own them inside and you do the work, then gestation will speed up, because that's the only thing we can control. The law is the law. There's only a certain amount of days to gestate corn. There's a certain amount of days to gestate goals. And we are the ones that are either putting fertilizer or Roundup on it. We choose, and it's us. And it's a whole new conversation about attitude and energy and focus that we'll get into down the road. But I know for a fact that if you can learn to understand gestation, you'll be a lot more patient.
That being said, also persistence.
Yes.
When you hit a roadblock, because there's been a lot of roadblocks in my way, and it's like, okay, I know where I'm going because that's where I'm going to go. And you have faith only because you don't have fear anymore, because you know what fear and faith are, and you know how to keep yourself attached or focused on your goal. You're going to have to go through some stumbling blocks. There's going to be a lot of testing along the way, but you got to stay persistent. And that's what I want. And I don't care what's in my way. I got to get past it to get to that. And I think too, that a lot of people get to those roadblocks and they're like, oh, this isn't working. Excuse comes in. Maybe I should go back to what I was doing. Seemed like it was working better. But you don't ever get that traction. You don't ever push through it because it keeps coming up and you keep going back. So
yeah, the law of consistency is so vital. When you consider, and all we're going to be doing in this next several months working with your organization is really teaching the process of consistency and self-care, meaning that you start taking care of yourself better first, meaning I'll let Amanda take care of the help in the water. That's not my specialty. I'm sure I'm going to be blessed because of that as well. However, I'm talking about your mind, 90% mindset, 5 to 10% skill set. That's what we're going to focus on is the 90-10 rule. is to get you to really get less focused on your skill and more intentionally focused on your mind. And then meaning that you take care of you first thing in the morning, that you become number one first, and then everybody else after that for just a few minutes. And then when are you open for business? When are you actually out there doing your career, your opportunity, your job? And we're going to get you to be more consistent in the process of every day. And then we're going to teach you to be more honest with yourself and with others and get rid of being critical. We're going to be more honest, less critical. And then we're going to teach you to expect results, the ones you really want, and teach you to learn that that's a muscle. And so that's the art of developing consistency in your life. And it's so simple that unless you're really attached to what you really want to be and do, it's hard and it becomes simple not to do it. But I don't think that's going to be a challenge with anybody here, because you all have a desire to have more. And so that persistent, as you said, and consistency is the key.
Absolutely. Thank you. So Cheryl says, I have replaced hope with faith. Hoping is like waiting for someone or something to step in and help you. Whereas having faith is knowing that it will work out for the best.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So good.
Absolutely. So Bill is going to be with us this Thursday, is our first meeting with Bill at 6:00 Pacific Standard Time in our team meeting. So for those of you that are live here, you'll get to experience Bill on Thursday. And for those of you that are here wanting to know a little bit more and how you can get access to Bill, he's in our program. So he's going to be your coach going through the affiliate program, and also for our employees as well. So we're very honored to have you. I'm so excited for the future and everything we have going and planning here. So we have Thursday of this week, we'll have Taiwan Hubbard here live with us, 3:00. Monday of the following week, we have Tyler LeBaron at 2:00. And then the next Thursday, live with us here on social media, is going to be Bob Citronelli, who is the wonderful author of the newest book, Hydrogen and How It Can Help Your Health. It just came out, so we're very excited to have him too. So with that being said, is there any other questions that any of you have out there before we take off for our day today? We are going to be letting everybody know tomorrow in a Facebook story who is the winner of the ticket. So remember, you have one last chance right here. If you have a ticket, there was only 2 people that had questions, and there's quite a few people on here. So if you have a question, you only can win the ticket if you had a question. So right now there's Jamie and Callie. So each of you have the opportunity to get a ticket to the upcoming event in April in Vegas. So if there's no more questions, then I guess we are all set. Any other questions? Last chance, last chance. Okay, well, the value of the ticket is, over $200. So one of you is going to be the lucky winner. I believe Jolene was on here too earlier. Jolene, did you have any questions? Just welcome Bill. Okay. All right, Bill. Well, thank you so much, and we will see you here soon.
Awesome, guys. Nice to have all of you here with us. It'll be fun spending some time together.
Awesome. Thank you.